Hello, Isaiah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for meeting with me today. Um,
You're welcome.
well, congrats on your upcoming graduation. Tell us a bit about yourself first, what you're graduating from.
So I am, or I guess I was a PhD student at the University of Manitoba. I did my training at the Department of Chemistry, so I am a chemist. And to be exact, I am a synthetic chemist by training. What that means is I make inorganic complexes for many different applications, such as solar energy capture and medical applications as well. So it's a wide range of uh, applications for the stuff that I make.
That's very
And
exciting.
yeah, and I recently graduated this February.
Well, then congrats and
Thank
congrats on
you.
your upcoming convocation, I'd say. Could you share a pivotal moment or even experience that just shaped your passion for your field of study? I know
Um,
it's hard.
it's hard. It's just a lot. There's a funny one, but I don't think that's gonna translate well. So I'm just gonna. Actually, I was initially going for med school, so I did all my prereqs for med, or most of it, and then I think, oh, I think it was organic chemistry uh two that was taught by the late Phil Halton that really got me interested in chemistry. And then after that, I took inorganic chemistry, and then I realized how cool it is to work with compounds that have different colors, different properties, and you can tune them by using different ligands. Um, and I thought that was really really interesting. So I decided to move to chemistry rather than go to med school.
That's
And
that's very exciting.
yeah, and I started volunteering. My PhD supervisor, when he started, I approached him to do research in his lab, and I would say that really cemented my interest in chemistry and to pursue research in chemistry.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm so
Yeah,
glad to hear that.
yeah.
And I think you already shared a bit, but I wonder what were some of the resources, such as libraries, laboratories, or specialized equipment, that have been particularly beneficial to your learning and your growth.
For resources in literature, it was really helpful for me to have this option provided by the library to provide you with copies of literature that's not available physically in the library. So that's really helpful for them to actually reach out to other libraries or other places and provide me with a copy of it, PDF copies mostly of it, so that I could read, especially older literature. It's really hard to find copies of those without, you know, going to the library and physically
Yeah,
scouring through
definitely.
the.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's really really helpful, and I'm really grateful for that. And I hope they keep it. Um,
Yes, I do too.
as for equipment, I would say the NMR has been really, really pivotal in all my experiments. A great portion of the experiments I do in the lab is based on NMR.
That's
So that's
amazing to
really
know. Thank
helpful.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, and you've also touched base on this before, but going back to it, I know as as a previous student myself that how crucial a prof's role is
Yeah.
in anyone's academic journey. Can you maybe highlight some profs that have had a significant impact on your journey?
I would like to highlight three if that's okay.
For sure.
There's more. First, my supervisor, my PhD supervisor, for allowing me to work in his lab. 'Cause like I said, this is the moment where I realize how much I like synthetic chemistry, how much I like inorganic chemistry, and the other thing that I am really, really grateful for him is he allowed me to explore other fields of chemistry that isn't necessarily his expertise. So in a sense, I developed the skill, and then it's called computational chemistry, where
Mhm.
you basically model molecules using density functional theory. And so he doesn't have any experience with it, but he allowed me to explore that by letting me do the calculations, talking to experts in the field, and all these stuff. So I'm really, really grateful for him about that.
And that would
Um,
be, who would your supervisor be?
Sorry, David Herbert.
Perfect.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. The second person I would really like to mention is Jennifer Van Weingarten. Allowed me to work in her lab when I was an undergrad, and this also enabled me to learn a new set of skills, essentially spectroscopy, and which is now I'm trying to pursue here in Germany, but just on a different scale and wavelength. Basically, I would say made me love spectroscopy, and
That's
the
amazing.
information that it can provide you is there's a lot of information it can provide you about the structure and electronic structure. So which is amazing.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and lastly, I would say Mario Behringer. And the reason being is that when I took his inorganic class in my third year, I think he's one of the few professors who allowed us to be inquisitive when we're trying to answer questions that sometimes questions have no right answer, which I think is very important in science, not just in chemistry, but in science in general. Like you can approach a problem in different ways and come up with different answers or solutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which
That's
is
a,
very
that's a very,
important
yeah,
in my growth. Yeah.
very important perspective for sure.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
I'm wondering in your time, and I know PhD is a very, very busy time, but if you've
Hmm.
been involved with any science related or university related clubs.
Yes, I was actually later in my years of in my undergrad. I was a member of the Chem Club. It was definitely at first I didn't really care much about it because my mindset was okay. I just need to go to school, go back home. But when I joined it, I realized how much I am missing. Right, the social aspect. It definitely helped my days, especially when you're down, because then you have surrounded by people who have very similar interests as you, who are as crazy as you and stuff like this. Makes the university life a lot better, I would say.
That's amazing to know.
Yeah, and I'm actually still in touch to most of them, so lifelong friends, I suppose.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really heartwarming. I wonder if you can discuss, I'm sure you've had your unique challenges, but if you can discuss any of them and how you overcame them.
I would say really the biggest challenge I encountered in my graduate school, there's two things. One, in my undergraduates, I lost my mother from cancer, and basically I just powered through my undergraduate. It was definitely heavy on me, but I don't know
I'm
how to
sorry.
describe it. No, it's okay. It's just I'm not
Yeah,
entirely sure how to describe it.
I don't think I don't think it's easy to find words times like this.
Yeah, but that was years ago, and it was definitely difficult. But on her deathbed, I made a promise that I will continue doing this and find a solution or a way to deal with cancer. That was my, I guess that was the thing that helped me push the rest of my undergraduate. As for my graduate school, it was mostly COVID. Everything shut down. Can do experiments. You can send
Yep,
anything. There's
I remember.
limitations. So that was a big hit for me. The way I dealt with it is as soon as we from got back working in the lab. Okay, I have goals. I'm gonna follow these goals. This is what I want from my career. So I'm gonna keep pushing through, even if we have this COVID thing happening. Just keep pushing through. Someday you'll hit the end of the tunnel, and I do believe that there's always gonna be a light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep pushing. Yeah,
You said it beautifully. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that with all of us.
yeah.
And I know you're now in Germany. I wonder if
Mhm.
you've had the opportunity to collaborate from like the students and researchers from other science disciplines. And if you have,
Mhm.
how does something like that impact one's understanding of their own field?
I haven't really done much collaboration here in Germany. I've only started 4 months ago, roughly. But in my grad school, I did quite a bit of collaborations with researchers. It really is very helpful to collaborate with other science fields because then it opens up your projects to other applications. One thing that I would highlight is platinum complexes that initially I don't really remember why we wanted to synthesize them, but I think it was for catalysis. And then my supervisor went to a conference. Someone got interested in those complexes. We studied their biological properties, and we found that they actually improved biological activity compared to cisplatin, which is a commonly used drug in chemotherapy. So that was encouraging. And by collaborating with people with a group in our department, in our chemistry department at U of M, we found out that our platinum complexes actually, when they interact with DNA, so there's two things. When it interacts with DNA, it turns on emission, which can be really important in the field of biological imaging. And at the same time, when it interacts with DNA and you shine light to the assays, it increases the cytotoxicity of those platinum complexes. So it opens up those platinum complexes for photodynamic therapy studies, for example. So I think it's really, really helpful for me to grow as a scientist by collaborating with other fields, not just in chemistry, but also in biochemistry or microbiology. So I really encourage people to collaborate with other fields of chemistry.
That's very insightful because every time you collaborate with someone, you actually see your research from their point of view as well.
Exactly.
Same as the point you said about seeing your research application.
Yeah, exactly.
Other areas. As my last question, as you start your next phase of your journey, or you probably started it already, what advice would you give someone who is coming to the Faculty of Science at the University of Manitoba as an undergrad or grad?
This is an advice I've given to undergrads and graduates, well, mostly undergrads when they're starting, is to gain experience, whether through USRA or NSERC or even just volunteering. Really the best way to learn a field, especially something like chemistry, which is mostly experimental, is to gain experience. And don't be afraid to approach professors. They are, I think, always happy to take in students. I know there are now some people who don't really like volunteering or discourage it because they think it's sort of exploitation of the students. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I think it's a way for students to gain experience because when you go outside university, whether it's undergraduate or graduate level, the first thing they will ask you experience. And the best way to get experience is to work in a lab or whatever other field you are interested in.
Absolutely.
So that's the advice that I would like to give new students, incoming students to the faculty.
That's solid advice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your time today. Of
You're welcome.
course.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope the best for you for the rest of the journey.
Thank you very much. And you guys have a great day in Manitoba.
Thank you. You too, Germany.
Thank you.